The person that hurt you isn't going to be the person that heals you. And closure isn't something that they give you, it's something that you create yourself. It's really human to say, oh my God, I just need closure. Why can't I move on? Why am I stuck on this person? And so I'm going to give you a little bit of an understanding of the why we do that, different attachment styles. And then at the end of this video, I'm going to give you some advice on how you can move past that and how you can finally give that closure to yourself. And so stick around. And if you guys want more, I have a podcast called The Sabrina Zohar Show right here on YouTube, and I answer so much more of your stuff. Okay, so let's get into it. There's the first thing that we want to talk about, and I wanted to talk about the neuroscience of closure, not just coming at it with these platitudes of like, just get over them and just move on. It's like, no, let's talk about why you actually can't or why you think you need closure. So our brains crave something called narrative completion. Our brains don't do very well filling in the blanks. They don't like unfinished business, unfinished stories, so they cause a cognitive dissonance, especially somebody that breaks up with you and something, and you're like, but I love them, even though you know that they caused you pain, and you're like, but I need them back. And it's like, well, I know that this person's not good for me or that this isn't the right relationship. The cognitive dissonance might be that you're still trying to get them back. You want the closure. You want to finalize this. And so there's something, I'm going to fucking botch this, called the Zeigarnik effect. I hope that was the right one. So we remember incomplete experiences more vividly. And so that's why the why starts to come up. And then if we actually look at attachment styles, I wanted to bring this up because it's very important to understand the difference and how anxious versus avoidant deal with the closure component. So for the anxious attacher, when we have no closure, when you don't know what's going on, your nervous system is seeing uncertainty as danger. And that's a survival technique. And trust me when I say I learned that as well when I was a kid. And so the breakup or those unanswered questions, they're going to feel like a threat to your survival, not just a disappointment. And that's why your brain is trying so hard. And your brain is saying, okay, well, if I just know the why, then I can stop it from happening again. And it's trying to have that certainty, which is why I continue to say the real driver here of trying to get that closure is a fear of abandonment. It's not actually about them, because what do we know about this person, right? You can create your own closure. Closure becomes a way to keep a thread of a connection alive, because oftentimes our body, our brain, our nervous system doesn't want to accept the reality that this is over. And so that's why we'll ruminate on why. Why questions keep you further away from actually understanding why, and they keep you in the intellectualization. But pretty much what's happening is when you ask why questions, it's because your brain is so overwhelmed. It's like, if I intellectualize it, then I don't need to feel it. And so it tries to outsource that entire process, which is why you start ruminating. So then we have the avoidant attachment, and not fearful avoidant. I'm talking kind of the dismissive. On the surface, they don't typically seek closure. They might shut off or cut down. I lied. They might cut you off or shut down. I could do this. Today's just one of those days I'm botching up words. But underneath it, the avoidance is going to reframe the story to protect their ego and prevent any vulnerability. And so they might seek that internal closure, right? They're going to rationalize, they're going to downplay the relationship rather than engaging in that external or engaging in emotional resolution. You see the big difference here between the two. One person is thinking everything's my fault if I can just get an understanding that I'm not going to be abandoned. The other person, for their own survival, is like, cool, I'm going to spin this in a way so that I don't have to deal with what's actually coming up for me. Then we go into the disorganized, right? That fearful, that you're craving answers, but you're also pushing them away because the trauma is the attachment style. It's not that disorganized is just the one person I'm this and one person I'm that. And so for a lot of them, there's that conflict of I want to know versus I don't want to be hurt again. And so it's really vacillating between the two, which is really real. And so closure for people with disorganized can feel really, really intense, but also super inconsistent. And so they might initiate the contact and then disappear because the vulnerability is going to be too deep for them. So you really have to kind of see, like, how does this person interact? And then somebody secure is more likely to accept that closure might not come from that person, that they are okay to give themselves that closure. They can process the endings without thinking there's something wrong with me and I need to this person has to tell me everything's going to be okay. And even though, listen, they may prefer honesty, right? I think that's really real. And I think anybody would be kidding you if they say that they don't, but they don't have to have it. And I think to me, closure is just, I'm still fairly convinced it's just a way of keeping this connection alive and not actually acknowledging and accepting that the ending is here. And when you reopen the wounds, when you re-engage with somebody who's already detached, all you're telling your body and your nervous system is, I'm only okay if I have them, that I am not worthy and deserving, that they are better than me. And it just extends the healing because you're waiting on their actions. You're waiting on something that's outside of your control. You cannot control them. You can't control when they contact you. And you're allowing them to rewrite the story in a way that still diminishes your fucking worth because you're putting your power in their hands, which is the video we had last week of how do you stop giving your power away. If you guys want to watch it. So let's talk about some healthy versus unhealthy coping mechanisms. Healthy is you can get clarity from having a conversation where you're both mutual, you're both respectful, you're both being honest. It's not going to be coming from somebody you're not fucking chasing somebody. Like that's where we get into healthy is like someone that's not safe, somebody that is not willing, somebody that is clearly ignoring you. It's like that's where we have to stop and say, okay, the wheels are falling off. And we have to look and make sure that we're not mistaking curiosity for healing because I understand that you might be super curious and you want to know, but that might not actually be helping you. And so how do you actually give yourself that validation, that love, that closure? I want you to write your own ending. I want you to journal what happened from your perspective without romanticizing it. It's okay to say, no, I didn't, my needs weren't satisfied. This person wasn't treating me in the way that I deserved. They ghosted me and that doesn't align with the partner and the person I'm trying to become or the person that I want to be with. Awesome. You can grieve the fucking process. You can grieve everything that you're dealing with. You're allowed to be sad. You're allowed to be bummed. You're allowed to move through this and feel and experience without trying to fix anything. And that's what I mean by you give yourself the closure because you allow yourself to process through this without waiting for somebody else to tell you it's okay to fucking do that. Maybe we have a ritual. Maybe you like write yourself a letter. Maybe you meditate. Maybe you journal. Maybe you do something like with a friend. I don't care. Maybe you burn a fucking letter every time you want to write it to them. Whatever you need to do, you create that for yourself. Because how you create that for yourself is that you remember who the fuck you are. You remember what you're worth. You remember the baddie that you are and what you brought to the table as well. That's how you get closure from someone. You don't get closure by them telling you that it's okay for you to now move on or that they were done with you. And so now on to the next. You get closure because you acknowledge I deserve better than this shit. And I'm not going to wait for someone else to tell me that I get to move on with my life because that's what I have in my control. That I don't want you to forget because closure is it's not just one thing that happens because the reality is they can tell you why. I wasn't feeling it. Oh, why weren't you feeling it? I just wasn't connected. Why weren't you connected? There's always going to be more questions. It's never just going to be like, oh, that's it. Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Thanks so much. Because your brain is trying to fill in the blanks. It's not actually, the intellectualizing isn't what heals you. Feeling this and allowing yourself the anger and the sadness and the fear. I remember when my ex left, I didn't get closure. I didn't get any of that. I had to make that. I had to choose that and decide that every single day why I wasn't going to contact him, why I wasn't going to accept this anymore, and what I actually deserved and needed. Acceptance is a lot stronger than answers. And so if you really, really want to move on and you really want to be done with this, you get to choose that. You don't let them choose that for you. You create that yourself. And guys, if you need more, I've got a course called the Foundation Course. We go over all of the things that you're going to need to start a healthy and secure foundation. And this is something that you can do for you. And if not, you can listen to the podcast. You can work with me one-on-one, ask a question, whatever you guys need. Everything's at sabrinazohar.com, linked in the show notes. And as always, thank you guys so much. And I hope this was able to help. I hope that you guys can now feel empowered to know that closure starts with you. It doesn't start with this external. You decide that, baby. And now, maybe today is the day that you decide to choose you.